As I've been listening to the talks before me, there are some themes that have come across time and time again. And those themes are about inspiration, about passion, drive, and a team pulling the same direction. I think that's why this place is so special, is that you've seen a medical community, along with a community itself, along with physicians, come together to make their community a better place for athletes. And we've achieved that goal on many levels, as you've seen in the talks before us. My goal is to talk to you about the current state of affairs with where we want to go in terms of one of our major research endeavors, and that is regenerative medicine. Regenerative medicine is a field that has a lot of excitement behind it and has a lot of buzz behind it too. You'll see this daily in terms of the news programs that you see where people talk about stem cells and talk about other treatments that we're using from our own bodies to help improve the biology of healing. I'd like to start with a thank you to the city of Gulf Breeze. When we started on an endeavor in 2011 with ideas about where we wanted to go in this space, we approached them with plans to build a regenerative medicine center. At that time, we had some ideas about what the facility would require, and we approached them with those ideas. They embraced our ideas and awarded us with a $350,000 grant. We used that grant to build a facility where we can pioneer and translate some of these technologies from the bench, meaning from animal studies, to our patients. And that's the concept and that's the step that has been lacking in regenerative medicine. And so our goal and our mission is to pioneer that step, that translation from the bench to the bedside. So again, thank you to the city of Gulf Breeze, because we've taken those funds to build a facility. So that facility now is a tissue banking and storage procedure facility. So we take tissues, we process them in a clean room, and then we store them for multiple injections in terms of stem cells. It's a facility that lets us pioneer one particular technology that I'll talk about in just a few minutes. In terms of the goal of the Regenerative Medicine Center, it has the same mission as the Andrews Institute, and that is to pioneer these technologies, to take and innovate in terms of what we do with orthopedic surgery and the biology of what we do. For the past 30 years, orthopedics has spent a lot of time working on the carpentry of sports medicine, really stimulated by the arthroscope. And our techniques that has been a sentinel technology that's taken us to the next level, and we've refined over the next 30 years, or the last 30 years. The next 30 years we think are going to be surrounding the biology of healing and how we can take these technologies and make what we do even better. Currently on our campus, we offer 2 regenerative medicine technologies. Platelet-rich plasma is the first that's been around for quite some time. Studies on platelet-rich plasma are really solidifying its place in terms of our toolbox to help care for our patients. Early in the days with platelet-rich plasma, some of the studies were a little bit confusing, but now there are consistent evidence studies to show us that we can use that tool to help our patients. We also offer bone marrow aspirate. So similar to when we get blood from your veins, spin it in a centrifuge and take a layer that is important for healing, we can stick a needle into your bone marrow, take some of your bone marrow out, spin it, and get the layer that has stem cells and use it for orthopedic purposes too. We're currently involved with a study where we're comparing that technology, which is a stem cell technology, to platelet-rich plasma. And that's one of the studies we're excited about on our campus. Those 2 products are what we can offer now on our campus, and we do routinely offer on our campus. For the future of where we are headed with these technologies, we're involved with a number of studies that are developing the technologies to prove their worth and their value so that we can know they help our treatments and treat them in a better way. I want to briefly go over 4 of those studies and why they're important to us. In terms of 2 seconds about the background of stem cells, we know that our immune system is not only a reaction system, it also is a repair and adaptation system as well. And that these cells are very important for our immune system's ability to help us to respond to an insult, respond to an injury, and help repair and regenerate our bodies. 4 studies that we're involved with. The first, we know that exercise mobilizes these cells from our bone marrow, where they normally live, to our bloodstream. One study we're currently involved with is actually quantifying how many cells we can mobilize from people's bone marrow to their bloodstream with exercise and exercise-related treatments. This may be a way to harness the power of stem cells with minimally invasive techniques. That's the first study. The second study is we know that with an injury event, when you injure your knee, you have a release of stem cells from your bloodstream into your knee. So we're evaluating how we can collect those cells from the inside of your knee after an injury and use those cells to help what we do after the injury as well. The third is we know that one of the holes in what we do is how fast we can get patients recovered from our surgeries. And so we're very interested in using these technologies to improve the speed with which the athletes recover. As an example, we know after we do an ACL reconstruction, it takes some time for that graft to incorporate and be a new ligament in our bodies. So we're investigating how to use stem cells to seed that graft to improve its incorporation into our own bodies. The last is a study that's been about 7 years in the making. When we think about stem cell technologies out there, one realm that has been using stem cell technology more than anyone else is the cancer physicians in the form of bone marrow transplant. They have a lot of experience in terms of how to mobilize cells to people's bloodstream with drugs and then collect large amounts of stem cells. That's a method that we can garner more stem cells than any other harvest method out there. And then once we have a large numbers, we're looking at how can we use those cells to regenerate cartilage inside of patients' knees. Those are the 4 studies that are just a handful of what we're doing in our Regenerative Medicine Center. Again, I want to end by saying thank you to the City of Gulf Breeze for their grant. Without that, we could not be where we are today. And I also want to end with a quote. When I first visited in 2011, I was sitting with Dr. Andrews in the observation room outside of the ORs, talking about what we were excited about in terms of orthopedics. He said a quote that I've heard many other people quote from him, and it's true. In terms of he said it just then, I don't know if he said it the first time then or how many times after. But the first great advancement in sports medicine was the arthroscope. The second is going to be this. And we truly believe that's the future of us with regenerative medicine. Thank you again.